Hi, fans of Epic. We're going to check out Jorge doing Just a Man right now. You all wanted me to check him out doing the performance of it from the re-recorded performance to check out his vocals. I'm going to do a little bit more of a granular stop-start vocal analysis here, okay? All right, let's jump right in and give him a listen. I'm excited to check this out. Wait a minute. I have to look at this official concept album artwork. Man, there's been some really cool artwork, like this sort of abstract Trojan horse idea here. Wow, this is very cool. All right, let me go back. Well, no, I think nothing much has happened yet. We can keep going.
I look into your eyes and I think back to the sun of mine. You're as old as he was when I left for war.
All right, let's stop. Let's do that much, okay? So how would you describe his tone here? How do we even go about breaking down tone? This is how I like to break it down. You want to break down the elements in the tone that make up the tone, almost like the elements that make up a sauce when you have a sauce. Like what's going on? What's the acid? What's the heat? Where's the fat? You know, those types of things. This is how I like to do that when we talk about singing. We have grit, we have metal, we have wind. These are the basic dials on tone. The grit element is added to the voice in two ways. We do it one way through vocal fry. We do that. We fry into the start of a phrase. Another way we do that is through cinching the pharynx and creating false vocal fold activation. Okay, so that's the grit element. He's not very gritty right here yet. Then we have metal in the voice. Bop, bop, bop. We have that brassy, trumpety thing that the voice does. Then we have the windy thing that the voice does. Ba, 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 ha. We have a spectrum in between those. You could be ba, 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 ba. And that back and forth, that's called mixing, the art of mixing within singing. So you can hear in his tone, the biggest technical things that he's doing right now is the switching between the brass element and the wind element in his tone. He's very good at that. You know, he does a nice, sweet, warm sound, and then he gets brassy, then he gets warm. Listen for that. Let's start over and listen for that.
I look into your eyes.
Do you hear that air start? Hi. Hi. Lots of air at the start. Then as he got up to the top note, to your eyes, he flipped into his falsetto on that top note.
And I think back to the sun.
Beautiful. His airflow allowance in his tone is what makes his voice so accessible and so beautiful. That quality is everything. We love wind in the tone. We love grit for the most part. Sometimes we can go too far and people don't like it if it gets too gritty, but a little bit of grit, most people really find that texture pleasing in the sauce. You know what I mean? In the tone quality sauce. The metal element is the one that we have to be careful with, that we have to temper. Sometimes we can get too bop, bop, bop all the time, and when we sing like this, it can get kind of obnoxious. So, you know, wind, metal, grit. These are the primary tone quality elements. There's a couple other things in the advanced controls I'll talk about in a little bit. Let's keep going.
Of mine, you're as old as he was when I left for war.
Beautiful. When I left. So notice his mixing here. He's in his falsetto on when I left, and then I think on 4 he came back into his chest voice.
When I left.
So he switched back into his thickened voice. When I left. He switched back on I left. I he brought a little more thickening, then left he brought a little bit more thickening. When I left. So when he was in more of a pure falsetto, then he came down into a mix where he mixed his brassy tone with his windy tone, and then as he went down, he got a little more brassy. Listen for that. That's brassy.
When I left for war.
So he's really going back and forth between brass and wind. And when I left, he got brassier on the way down. He was brassy right before that, too.
Will these actions haunt my days? Praise every man I've slain is the price I pay. Endless pain. Close your eyes and spare yourself the view.
This is
How
beautiful.
could I hurt you?
I do think that this is a more textured and tone quality diverse performance of this already compared to the first version that I heard of this. This is really beautiful. Now you can hear in his vocal tone here, he added more depth of tone at this part. He had more openness in his tone. And when you add more openness in your tone, it gives you a deeper tone quality. You can hear him enhance his tone a little bit right here with that. Listen.
Is the price
Right there.
I pay. Endless pain. Close your eyes.
So he's got more open throat right there. Not as much open throatedness as, if that's a word, as an opera singer. Like he wasn't that open, but he did definitely open up his tone a bit more right there. Listen for that.
Praise every man I've slain is the price I pay. Endless pain.
Yo.
Close your eyes
Close your eyes. His mixing.
and spare yourself the view. Close your eyes.
Oh, his flipping into his falsetto and coming back in so seamlessly. That's very hard to do. He's doing that beautifully.
And spare yourself the view. How could I hurt you?
Beautiful.
I'm just a man who's trying to go home, even after all the years away from what I've known.
I do have to say also the pitch correction and stuff that has been done on this is much less. It's not as intrusive. I still do hear it, but it's not quite as much as the other recordings there. So really, really good. I'm so glad to hear that.
I'm just a man who's fighting for his life. Deep down I would trade the world to see my son and wife.
I love the tone quality he's getting to when he opens up and gets that fat, energetic, strong tone. Like he really does a great job of getting his oral cavity mouth space locked into place on the vowel right away quickly so that we get into the stability of the tone right away. It just sounds strong. There's no like meandering into the sound or turbulence that are like when he's holding the note. It's just locked in strength. Listen for that aspect of the power notes when he sings.
I'm just
Right there.
a man who's trying to go home.
There too.
Even after all the years away from what I've known.
So that's him in his brass element of his voice.
I'm just a man who's fighting for his life. Deep down I would trade the world to see my son and wife. I'm just a man.
Good. So inside of contemporary musical theater, we usually don't we're not usually as open as an opera singer. So openness is a spectrum. You could have a little bit of it. You can have a whole wide variation of amounts of openness when you sing. But if you want to keep it inside of the world of contemporary musical theater, you have to only use a certain amount of openness. And he's doing a great job of that. The truth is, though, most people that do contemporary musical theater don't have also the coordination to just to like open it up to the level that an opera singer does, because that's a really special coordination that takes years and years to learn. You have to literally learn how to not have your larynx go up for high notes and down for low notes to be able to do that. And there's a lot of technical study that you need to do to make that happen. Let's keep going.
But when does a comet become a meteor?
How
When
much
does
more
a
power?
candle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? When does a ripple become a tidal wave? When does the reason become the blame? When
Big.
does a man become a monster? When does a comet become a meteor? When
sounds different.
Does a man become a monster? I'm just a man.
Beautiful, beautiful. So listen to this over here. Check out his tone quality over here.
But when does
There.
a comet become a meteor? When does a comet...
So that tone right there, he's more open. When does a bop, bop, bop? There's a lot of openness and brass in that tone right there. But again, he's not like, oh, he's not like crazy open, like, you know, in that operatic way. But he does have more openness in his tone to create strength and make that dominant type of a sound. So how do you make that sound? You make that sound with a lot of clean vocal fold closure, a lot of thickening, and a lot of air pressure. He also is using a lot of straight tone too. He doesn't use as much vibrato in his singing as a lot of other musical theater singers that sing. Like, you know, think about the musical Les Mis. You know, imagine Colm Wilkins singing this. Like, there would be, "And a man become a meteor." Like, he would be spitting vibrato all the time. But Jorge's keeping it clean here and keeping it straight. And I have to say, artistically, I think that that's a smart decision to make because, you know, we're thinking of Odysseus as a young soldier here. So Jorge sounds young. He sounds like, you know, there's almost a little bit of naivete in his tone quality because of the straight toneness and because of that youthful, you know, it's not over decorated, like he doesn't have too many tone quality textures. So it's kind of like a clean, pure, almost innocent sound at times that he sings with. And I think that fits perfectly with Odysseus, at least at this part of the journey. I know you all mentioned that he does get grittier later on in some of the songs that he does. So I'm curious to see how he activates that element, that grit element. Remember the tone quality triangle? We've got grit, metal, wind. Now, if you want to know about the sort of advanced settings on it, there are two other things I like to talk about in the advanced settings. Maybe you could say three. So we've got grit, metal, wind. Then we have openness of space. Oh, how open is the back of your throat or not? And then we also have how lateral and bright are your vowels or how tall and dark are your vowels. In choral vocal music, as well as in opera, we have lots of tall vowels. Oh. In contemporary music, jazz, pop, contemporary musical theater, we have a lot more lateral vowels, right? So if we think about all those elements, we can kind of break down what makes up someone's sound. And if we think about the way Jorge's singing here, we've got metal, wind, a lot of that. Not so much grit, a little bit of squeeze, but not so much. He is playing with openness at times, opening up his throat a little bit, but not extremely, just enough to give a little more command, a little more depth. His vowels are very bright. Very lateral. He's not like in a tall covered vowel type of a tone. And that's pretty much how he's using his voice here. He's doing some nice flipping up into his falsetto, and it's very beautiful. Very little vibrato, pretty straight tone in his singing. He's got a lovely tone for this song. And the ensemble sounds cool here too. The quality of this recording is definitely better than the one that I listened to. You all were right about that for sure.
When does a man become a monster?
Wow. Big.
Does a man become
beautiful. All right, so yeah, and as far as the pitch correction stuff goes, yeah, it's definitely less. It's definitely less. I still do hear. I'm normally what I'll do is I extract the vocal out and then I pull it into some software where I do a deep analysis, and then you can see what the pitch is doing. You can see like how perfectly it gets to the line. Like if like it's supposed to be an A and then it's like bing and it's on the A perfectly, then bing it's on the C, then bing it's on the E. Like human voice doesn't work like that, but so you can tell in the software when you look at the vocal, once I extract it from the backing track, you can see if it was corrected or not. And you know, I've been doing it quite a bit. My ear is telling me that it sounds like it was. And maybe down the road I'll do some of that, but I'm not interested in making it all about me doing this, doing a forensic analysis to prove pitch correction. I more so want to bring it up because there may be some of you out there who are following these videos who are singers, and you may be having an unrealistic expectation of your own vocals to be able to match the level of pitch accuracy that you hear when you hear a pitch corrected vocal. And I care about people learning how to sing. So I don't want you to have this false expectation for yourself when the singers themselves were not that accurate either. You know what I mean? So I want honesty in voice, and that's kind of a big thing for me. But it is what it is. This is the music business that we're in, and people are doing these types of things. But I do have to talk about it to have integrity as a voice teacher online. So for all you people that want to learn how to sing, but he's wonderful. This song is amazing. That was a really, really great vocal. What should be the next solo song that I do this type of a granular analysis on? If you guys want to hear it anymore, I may have gone too granular for you. You don't want to hear this layer of detail on it. But this is why I have a hard time listening to the show and just kind of bouncing off the songs. Like, I want to get in there and really get into it. So I'll have to do this here and there throughout the show. So thanks for watching. Sending you all so much love. The next episode is going to be coming next week. I'm going to be away this week. I'm actually probably away when this airs, when I put this up online. So it should be next week that I'll be getting to doing my third saga of the 9 sagas. We're going to be on this for a while, so I'll get to them as fast as I can. I've got so many people requesting songs. So anyway, thanks so much for watching the video, and subscribe if this is your first time to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.